Welcome back to Primitive Organic Garden. Today, I suppose I'll title this video Second Salad. I recorded a video a couple weeks ago about my first salad of the season. It's probably been since April since I had a salad because it gets too hot here and very few salad greens will grow in the summer. There's one or two salad substitutes that do tolerate hot weather like Malabar. We can look at some of those in the backyard in a minute, but I just wanted to do a quick tutorial on planting salad greens in containers, and then we'll probably pick a few of the things here, but since the rain isn't coming down too significantly right now, I'll probably pick most of the salad greens for today's salad in the backyard. I try to save this covered porch salad garden for days when it's just raining so heavily that I don't want to go out in the backyard and pick salad greens. I can just come out here and grab something real quick. So in terms of planting greens in containers, you can sow them very thoroughly, very thickly, very generously, and you'll have more of a microgreens type of setup. Or you can just plant, a handful of plants per container and get larger plants. Quick note on containers, it really doesn't matter what you plant salad greens in. They're such shallow rooted crops that you don't need to have big pots for them. I'll go over a couple different types of pots, both purchased and DIY, and then we'll talk about soil mixes. So traditionally a lot of people use nursery style pots, right? Pots that are... Please stop barking. Please stop barking. Zora! You're interrupting. So traditional nursery style pots, I want to say this is probably a 2-gallon nursery pot here. Those will hold up for years and years. They're meant to withstand sun and all that and moisture. They tend to be the most expensive option. That's great if you can afford it. Nursery pots you're not going to go wrong with, but they are quite expensive. This 2-gallon one here would probably be at least $5 or $6. Sometimes you can find cheaper ones, but the plastic tends to chip. You can see this is nice and sturdy here. This is already chipping away from a season or two in the sun. So these two containers you can see were sown quite thickly, probably easily 30 or 40 seeds in each one. And so this is more of a microgreen setup. I'll just come out here with scissors every couple days and just kind of mow this down for salad. Whereas some of the other containers, you only have one plant. So this is a broccoli here, and I'm expecting this to turn into a nice big plant and make a big head on it. So yeah, in addition to nursery pots, you also have these fabric pots. I'm a huge fan of these. They're much cheaper. So this is the same size as the nursery pot we just looked at. This is actually a 5-gallon, so this must be close to 5-gallon. It's a little bit narrower. This is probably a 3.5. I think this is a 2 or 2.5. This is a 5-gallon. These buckets behind me are also 5-gallon. So this was only like $1 and some change. So fabric pots, one of the most affordable options. Also great for plant health. The roots are able to breathe a little bit more. You get some air root pruning. So definitely my go-to. Very affordable and better quality than most other containers in my opinion. I like these better than nursery pots, but this nursery pot will hold up for probably 10 years, whereas I'll get maybe 3, maybe 4 good seasons out of this, and then it'll start to rip or decompose. 5-gallon buckets as an option, I don't recommend, because after a year or two in the sun, they start to chip away, and then your garden's full of pieces of plastic. But it's also one of the easiest options if you don't want to wait and order fabric pots online, don't want to spend money on nursery pots. 5-gallon buckets you can pick up at the hardware store for $3. Just make sure you drill holes in the bottom. Nursery pots always come with holes in the bottom, but if you're using a bucket, you want to drill your own holes for drainage. Other types of... This is another nursery type of planter. I want to say I paid like $13 for that, and it's a 15-gallon, I believe, maybe a 12-gallon. Clay pots are tons of fun. I love them, but they do require a lot more frequent watering, and they are the most expensive option. Even these tiny, tiny little clay pots here, the size of a mason jar or so, you're looking at $1.50, $2 a piece. But they work fine for microgreens. You will just have to water a little bit more often. I also make plenty of DIY pots. I used to do this more in the past before I amassed a vast collection of pots. You can use cardboard boxes. Again, just drill a couple holes in the bottom. You don't really need a ton of soil volume if you focus on high quality soil. In the past, I used to drink a lot of grapefruit and orange juice, and I would often save the containers. And you'd be shocked, if you use a good soil mixture, all your plant health starts in the soil. Build healthy soils, build large, vigorous, healthy, nutrient-dense plants. I mean, this is only 52 ounces, so that's not even quite a half gallon of volume. And drill some holes in the bottom, fill that up with a really high-quality potting mix, mix in some organic fertilizer or compost. I've grown 3-foot tall kale plants in one of these, and the only issue you have is that eventually the weight of the plant often knocks your container over. But I mean, you can grow very significantly sized plants and stuff like that, and that's completely free. You could also probably use some type of like salad container. So I did, I think, buy salad once over this summer for a family dinner function. It really killed me to have to buy salad because I should never have to do that. I guess I could grow salad indoors here in the summer when it's too hot to grow it outside. But yeah, and it was wild because I spent like $4 or $5 on this, and it's like, you know, I can pull 4 of these out of the garden every single day in the winter. So it was just, it hurt my heart to spend money on salad. But anyway, you could use a container like this, just drill a couple holes in the bottom. And the cool thing about these is, you know, if it's really cold out, you can have the soil volume a little bit lower than the lip of the container and use the lid as a greenhouse. You could also use this for germinating, you know, seeds if you're using like peat pellets or pots that are small enough to fit in here. So you have a mini greenhouse or a planter. But yeah, if you're going to use this long term for salad green production, I would just make sure to drill some holes in the bottom. If you're just germinating seeds, you might not need to do that. But and these will stay a little bit warmer. The soil will obviously get some light. You could put like some paper or cardboard or something around it, or paint the outside of it if you wanted to. Roots don't generally like lots of light, but it's really not a big deal. Salad greens grow and are harvested so quickly. So yeah, ideas for things to plant in: cardboard boxes, orange juice containers, empty plastic containers, buckets, fabric pots, nursery pots, clay pots, really whatever you want. The container doesn't matter that much. The soil does. I have 2 different potting mixes here. I wish I had a third to show you, because sometimes I do buy a cheaper potting mix if I'm growing something that doesn't mind as much. So I have a medium end potting mix here. You can always tell your low end versus your high end potting mixes based generally on, you know, feeling that soil and looking at it and looking at the particle sizes and the diversity of different things, as well as the moisture content. So usually when you buy cheap potting mix, you're going to see a lot of big chunks of pine bark. You're not going to see a whole lot of perlite, which is that white volcanic glass that's in there for drainage. So higher end potting mixes, you're going to see a lot more perlite. That's something to look for. You can also see the texture. So this is the back dough here. This was maybe $10 or $11 for a, I don't know, probably a 1 cubic foot bag, maybe a little bit more than 1 cubic foot. I would call this a medium. Stop barking! This would be a medium range potting mix. It definitely does not have huge chunks of pine bark in it. Stop barking! You can see it's got a real fine texture, not too much thicker than like coffee grounds. It's not big chunks of things. There's no pine bark. There's no pieces of rocks or clay. It's just, you know, it's very lightweight. You can feel that's a nice mixture that will be very friendly and easy for seeds to germinate in and spread their roots. I guess before we talk about potting mixes, I should have mentioned, always look for something that says potting mix or potting soil. If you accidentally grab like garden soil that's meant for in-ground gardens, a lot of times that's going to compact really significantly. So you never want to put topsoil or garden soil into a container. You always want to look for something that is a potting mix or a potting soil. A lot of the higher end ones have some slow release fertilizers in them. If you're using a lower end potting mix, you might want to add some fertilizer. I always use something organic like chicken manure or kelp meal, or some of the mixes, alfalfa meal, feather meal, cottonseed meal, fish emulsion, anything like that. Here's an example of a really high-end potting mix. This is the Fox Farm company that makes other potting mixes like Ocean Forest and Happy Frog. This is the cream of the crop, the highest end potting mixes that you'll generally see on the market. Over $20 for a 1 cubic foot bag here, whereas this was half the price. It does just as well. A lower end potting mix, it's usually going to run you about $6 or $7 for a large bag. So the price difference between low end and medium end is actually not that stark, but this is much higher quality than you'll see on the lower end of the spectrum. So definitely worth it to at least spend the money and get like a medium end potting mix, but no reason to use stuff like this unless you're just have money to blow, or if you were doing a really small garden with very few pots and you wanted to, you know, maximize the soil quality of every single one because you just have very few of them, then something like this might be fun. Fox Farm is a fantastic company. Everything they make is gold, and they make all kinds of fertilizers in addition to potting mixes. But yeah, no need to buy something like that unless you just, like I said, really want to spend money or have a lot of high-end plants that you really want to maximize the quality of. Like if I were growing like one purple broccoli plant and that was the only thing I had in the garden, I might put my one purple broccoli plant in something like Fox Farm. But like I said, also Ocean Forest is really good. Happy Frog is actually not quite that expensive. This one here is called Bush Doctor, and it's coconut core. It's got a lot of perlite in there. It also has stuff like bat guano and some other high-end fertilizers. Trying to think what else is in here. It's got all kinds of beneficial microbes, bacteria, and fungi. It's also got some earthworm castings, oyster shells, kelp meal. So yeah, that's great if you can afford it. I guess if I were a millionaire, I'd buy tons of stuff like that. But like I said, I usually stick to more medium end potting mixes for stuff like small container gardens. And then if I'm filling like huge containers for big plants, I will buy like a lower end potting mix. Like I use Jungle Growth from Lowe's a lot. I think Home Depot also carries one called like Kellogg or something like that. They're affordable and they're still decent. Still better than using like a garden soil or a topsoil in your containers. It's raining a little bit harder now. I was going to talk about some of the things that I use as microgreens. Spinach is a really good one. Any of your brassicas, so cabbage, cauliflower, bok choy, mustard, arugula, collards, kale, all that makes fantastic microgreens. If you're doing something like a cabbage, this is a collard that functions like a cabbage. You're obviously not going to have plants that form heads if you're doing them as microgreens, but that's fine. Really, whatever brassica seed you could get the cheapest in bulk would be a good choice for microgreens, since you're going to go through a lot of seed. If you want to do microgreens production long term, you might want to let 1 or 2 plants actually get big enough to flower and set their own seed, and then you'll have free seed supply for future years. This is my brassica seed collection here. Purple mustard, one of my favorite microgreens. This is some dinosaur lacinato kale. This is arugula here, rocket. The only things I wouldn't do as microgreens in the brassica family would be stuff like radishes, unless you're doing daikons. A lot of your standard radishes, the leaves are pretty tough and sandpaper-like. Daikons tend to have a much nicer leaf texture. You can eat daikon leaves like raw in salads, whereas most of your other radish leaves are going to be pretty unpalatable in their raw state, in my opinion. You could also do like lettuces and stuff as microgreens, but I tend to sow lettuces as individual plants rather than microgreens, just because they're not as competitive as most of your brassicas, and they're fairly small plants that are easy to manage anyway. So yeah, when your microgreens or your salad greens are small, you know, this would be probably the 2-week stage, maybe 3 weeks post-germination. I wouldn't harvest any leaves at that stage. You just want to let them grow. That's probably 2 to 3 weeks out, depending on your temperatures and light levels. And we'll look at some that are maybe a month old. These were sown probably about a month ago. So this is probably the earliest you could expect to start harvesting, is maybe a month or so after planting the seeds. You obviously wouldn't want to clip every leaf off every plant when they're this small, but you could come in here with scissors and thin out quite a bit of this and it would still come back. That's about 3 weeks. These here are probably slightly over 3 weeks. This is also more mustard, which tends to grow faster. Again, you could harvest at this stage, just maybe only pull 1 leaf off every plant. These have been here about a month. These are actually some daikons in here. I was telling you, daikon greens are actually quite soft and edible. You could obviously harvest quite a bit of that. There's some lettuce over here. This is close to a month old, but it's not as big as some of the other salad greens. I'd probably wait to harvest that one. But yeah, so I made a video a couple weeks ago called like first salad of the season, just talking about how happy I was to have my first salad since like April. And then I realized there was actually no lettuce. My whole salad was stuff like arugula, purple mustard, Malabar leaves, basil. And I was like, well, can you really call it a salad if there's no lettuce? I guess that's more of a philosophical question, but we're gonna go look in the backyard real quick at a larger salad garden, some of which is microgreens, but most of which is not. Welcome back to Primitive Organic Garden today. I suppose I'll call this video second salad. I made a video a few weeks ago about the first salad of the season, and then I didn't end up uploading it. I realized that it actually didn't have any lettuce in the video because it was still kind of too hot. The salad was mostly like purple mustard and some basil and Malabar, and it's like, well, I don't know if that technically counts as first salad of the season or not. Today we definitely have enough salad to make a salad video. So these are some rows that I sowed really thickly. Lots of seed sprinkled in here, just lightly covered. This is arugula here. This row, this row, this row, this row. All 5 rows there are arugula. And you would just come in here with scissors and harvest that. These rows are cabbage and collards. I'll probably thin out every other plant or so and use those as microgreens, and then I'll let a few of these collard and cabbage plants get big enough to form heads. You can see there's some weeding I need to do in here, but this is purple mustard, this row. Sorry if the video froze. The phone battery's dying. This whole row is purple mustard. We were just talking about the cabbage and collards here. You can see there's some daikons here. Daikon leaves are great in salad. Here's another row of purple mustard. Looks like I did quite a few rows of purple mustard. And then some more collards or cabbage back there. You can see the mustards tend to grow faster than the collards and cabbage. The daikons are clearly the most vigorous. So if you're in a hurry for microgreens or salad greens or whatever, daikons are going to be probably the fastest growing. But mustards, purple mustard, green mustard, all your mustards are going to be almost as fast. Arugula is pretty fast. And then your kales, cabbages, collards, cauliflowers, bok choys, that's going to be just a little bit slower. But yeah, so that's one of the salad gardens here. We also have quite a lot in containers. So we already talked about containers a little bit earlier in this video and how to plant in containers, but that's pretty thickly sown there in that pot. Got another nursery pot and a bucket here with arugula. Got some arugula and purple mustard in that bucket. This is the Malabar spinach I was talking about. That's a really good hot weather substitute for salad greens. It is not related to spinach, but in a kitchen it sort of tastes like spinach if you cook it. and like butter and garlic with lemon juice, you'll swear you were eating spinach. If you eat it raw, it's going to have a much more mucilaginous texture than regular spinach. The leaves are thick like succulent leaves, so you'll definitely know when you bite into it. I gotta wrap this up. I'm getting destroyed by mosquitoes out here, even though I'm in long sleeves. I was gonna like walk around and show you more microgreens. Here's more microgreens in a fabric pot. There's some volunteer mustard I didn't plant coming up in here. That's a good salad green. Some of this stuff here I want to wait a few more weeks before starting to pick leaves off. I like to use green garlic leaves in salad. Garlic makes a great salad green. This is some mustard that volunteered. That's starting to get big. When the leaves are this massive, I feel like they're better cooked as mustard greens instead of salad. There's more little microgreens. This is a chard. Swiss chard is a little bit trickier to grow than most of your traditional salad greens, but it's very tasty. I like chard a lot. I don't think there's any salad stuff in here. Sorry, I'm getting disorganized now that I'm getting covered in mosquito bites. This is some more salad greens in a 5-gallon bucket. Another mustard green plant. So you can see the differences. When you sow tons of seeds in a large pot, you get more microgreen style. When you only have one plant in a large pot, you get, something massive like that. I'll make mustard greens out of that on Sunday. But yeah, I think that's all the salad stuff we'll talk about for today. I really wanted to film me picking all these salad greens for the first salad of the year. Maybe I should just brave the mosquitoes and go for it. Or I could try to just do it really fast. Oh, there was more salad greens over here I forgot about. I put herbs in my salad too. You could use lemon balm, leek greens. Yeah, we're gonna get some of this arugula here. I was gonna say I need to go in and like dress for the mosquitoes, but I'm already dressed for the mosquitoes. See, this is also why I have that front garden on the porch, because there's not usually a lot of mosquitoes on the front porch, and there's always tons of mosquitoes back here. Well, this is one of my favorites. This is apple mint. Apple mint is actually really nice in a salad, as long as you don't put too much. The flavor is kind of strong. You could use sweet potato leaves in a salad if you wanted to. Sweet potato leaves are, in fact, edible. Alright, we'll put a daikon leaf or two in here. We'll get some more purple mustard. It looks like arugula might be the backbone of today's salad. Oh wow, there's fire ants in here. That's not something you have to worry about up north, but here it is. Wow, that's crazy. We will go ahead and put some of this Malabar in here. I mean, it's such a waste for me to have it back here and not eat it. I tend to go for the younger, smaller leaves. They tend to be less thick and less mucilaginous. If you're going to use a lot of salad dressing and you pick really small Malabar leaves, you're probably not even going to notice they're in there. So maybe I should eat this more. It grows like a weed here in the summer. It's a tropical vine that loves hot, humid weather. And so it's a shame you don't see more commercial production of it, because it simply grows itself in most of the deep south. I think it's of tropical Asiatic origin. I know it's popular in most of the southern hemisphere as a high-end hipster salad green. Wow, these mosquitoes are insane. It's worth it. Come out here and get free salad. This is comfrey. Don't accidentally eat raw comfrey. If you put that in salad, you'd probably have a bad time. I'm not going to grab too much more out of here because some of these are fairly small. The only lettuce I've seen today is on the porch, so I'm gonna get some more of that in a minute. I'm probably not gonna film that. Get a little bit of this Swiss chard in here. I like chard better cooked because the leaves are a little fibrous at times, but I don't know if we got any of this green mustard yet. I know we got some purple mustard for salad. Those leaves are honestly too big for salad greens. Maybe we'll get a couple more daikon greens. Sometimes I accidentally overpick salad greens. I guess we'll get some of these leek leaves for our salad. Really like the taste of leeks. I'll probably put a couple of sweet peppers in my salad today too. Those are on the other side of the garden. I really don't want to walk all the way over there and get bit by more mosquitoes. Little collards make nice salad microgreens. I got some weeds around the garden that you can eat in salad too, like dandelion, dollar weed. Some more chard, that's pretty. You could put some oregano and other herbs in your salad if you wanted to. Why not? You could put some basil in salad, especially if it was going to be like an Italian type of salad. So basil is a warm weather plant, and so you're going to have that more in summer salads. You're probably not going to have that in the winter. It's a decent sized salad bowl, and I'm just one person. You could put some dill in salad if you wanted to. Don't put raw eggplant in salad. That wouldn't be fun. These purple sweet potato leaves would look cool in the salad, wouldn't they? I don't think we really need a whole lot more. Although I do want to put one piece of lettuce in today's salad so it counts as a real salad. I think this is the only lettuce we have at the moment. It's funny. This purple mustard leaf is shading out a lot of other stuff, so we're gonna grab it. This is like a lemon basil here. That might be interesting in salad. Just not in large amounts. These are all purple broccolis, which I will not be putting in salad. I'm gonna plant those into a really nice spot in the garden. I don't think we got much of this. I don't see a whole lot of the spinach coming up yet. Still see mostly more arugula and mustard, but that's fine. Alright, well thanks for tuning in for the first salad of the season. If this video weren't so long already, I would do one of my secret salad dressing recipes, which isn't that much of a secret, just like horseradish, mustard, honey, olive oil, some herbs and spices. Anyway, happy first salad of the year, and I intend to Stick to the 200 days of salad. Try to eat salad for the next 200 days every day.